You're watching another edition of Spotlight here on MMA Draft. I'm Frank Trigg, and today we're with Rico DiSciullo, who is, you know what, I'll just let you explain it. It's been, what, a week and a half since your last competition? Can you go ahead and tell us what happened in that one?
It was actually this past Saturday. I debuted my pro debut for Bellator, and I won KO of the night with a nice knockout, throw elbow strikes.
I was actually watching it online. I was out of the country, so I had to pick it up online. And then I got an email from Tommy. Hey, by the way, you got to hit up Rico. Got to talk to him. I'm like, isn't he fighting? Didn't he just fight? Did I just see that kid? He's like, yeah, you just saw him. I'm like, okay, all right. It's because usually we're used to dealing with guys that have only been amateurs up to this point. You are technically our first professional we've had on MMA Draft Spotlight.
Awesome.
So you get to break the cherry. Thanks, bud.
Nice.
Now, how'd you get into MMA? Give us a quick rundown of how you got into MMA to begin with.
Well, when I was little, I did karate. Like when I was like 5 till almost a teenager. I played all different types of like contact sports through high school and whatnot. And when I left high school, I moved to Somerville, and I actually was going for a jog, whatnot in Somerville area. And I ran by Tom in Somerville, which is Mark DeLagrati's gym.
Yeah. Yep.
And I walked in there, saw a couple guys, going at it, like, full MMA sparring, and I fell in love. It's something I knew I was instantly going to want to do. So I took some Muay Thai classes and started sparring. Had a smoker, knocked some kid out, and it was like, who's this guy?
Wow.
So,
what did your amateur record end up being before you jumped into being pro?
It was 10-3.
Wow, very good, especially coming from the East Coast. It's not like a lot of times in California you get these guys with inflated records a little bit because there's so many different leagues you can jump into. On the East Coast, there's not that much. So you did. That's really good having a 10-3 record before you jump in.
Yeah, I actually got a really good opportunity to fly down to Florida too and fight in a tournament down there called Rise of a Warrior, which they had a lot of solid amateurs down there, and I took the title for my last fight as an amateur.
And how many? Was it a tournament situation, or was it just a couple of fights? A couple months apart. How was that format set up?
Yeah, it was tournament style. So I had to win 3 fights for the title fight, and I won the first round with an arm. It's funny because like my first 5 fights were all knockouts, and then my last fights were all submissions. So I feel like it was really good. Really good getting as many amateur fights in as I did, because it got me to, respect every part of mixed martial arts between like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and really pull it all together for me,
Well, it shows too, coming from Sigadong, with Mark DeLagrati, you start there, that's obviously a kickboxing place, your stand-up's going to be outstanding, like we've seen with him with other guys in Bellator and other guys in the UFC. Then you make that jump and you're like, oh, I got to figure out this other portion of the game. That is smart. It's actually, I wish more guys would do it the way that you did it, whatever your base is. I don't care what it is, whether it's jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whatever. You start with your base, and as you progress, you start getting the other end of it. For you, it was knockouts first and submissions later. For someone like me, it should have been submissions first and knockouts later. But I back in the day, there were no amateur leagues. How important do you think that the amateur league is for you now to make you actually be a legitimate pro as you jump in?
Oh, well, it's huge, because not only do I get that fight experience in the cage, you get that whole experience of I've had fights where I had to travel, I had to stay in hotels, I had to cut weight in different places, I had to go to places and fight where I got booed, you know what I mean? So you get all those different experiences, all the different looks. Sometimes you come out, you got a camera in your face, you know what I mean? All these different things that you're not used to, and it really made it, I was still really nervous for my pro debut, but I feel like I felt 10 times more comfortable than I would have if I didn't have all those fights as an amateur.
Well, it actually says something about you as well. When you jump into your first professional fight is actually in Bellator, which is the second-tier league. It's on Spike TV. It's owned by Viacom. It's a big deal to be part of that organization, because as you get better and as more people get to know you, you'll get fast-tracked in a title hunt, which is important. What's your deal with Bellator right now? Was that just a one-fight deal, or do you have several fights on a contract?
Well, it's a one-fight deal. They have an option for for 2 fights. I plan on potentially fighting for them again if everything works out well, situational things, but I can still go other places and fight.
I have a feeling Bjorn Remy's going to be calling you up pretty soon to fill in, especially for the way that you fought this last Saturday night. The way that you knocked that guy out of your elbows was incredible, and that's what they like to see. They like to see aggressive, incredible, very accurate techniques that end in finishes. That's what Bellator likes, and you're right in their wheelhouse. That's what they like to see, and you did it for them very easily.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, especially coming from you. It means a lot, and it's funny because a big thing too, fighting amateur. So many times I had a couple fights that were like, title fights are important fights to me, and there were times where I was, I I was like, all right, I gotta play it safe. I gotta do this, that, whatever. And like in the end, I was like, no, you just gotta go out there and you fight. You know what I mean? You can't think of you train in the gym for all these bad positions and everything that will happen. That worst case scenario places. Can just constantly train bad situations and good situations, but in the end, it's just a fight. You got to beat the other guy. You got to find a way to win, and that's it. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like a lot of times in bigger places and promotions, people can overlook that, and in the end, it's just a fight, man. You just got to go out there and win.
Rico, thanks for coming out here with the MMA Draft and spending a couple of minutes with us. Good luck in your next fight, and I do have a feeling it's going to be in Bellator. I think they're going to pick you up and take a hold of that option and make sure that you stick with them for a while. Good luck in your next fight. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.